He has raised over 40 million. He has raised over 40 million. Please take note of these, things I'm saying about speaker, so you know where you are. He has raised over 40 million for more than 100 plus businesses and trained over 2,000 leaders in fundraising. Sir Blessing's Mene work has earned him numerous accolades, including from the University of Washington, UC Berkeley, Gates Foundation, Score World Forum, Bayer Foundation, and many others. He remains committed to creating lasting and positive impact in entrepreneurship and economic development. Sir Blessing Mene is a product of God's grace and mercy, a husband and a father of 2 children. So, ladies and gentlemen in the house, without taking so much time, with more reactions from you, let us welcome Sir Blessing Mene as he gives us some loads of wisdom, some loads of value this evening. So if you know you are not busy and you're on this platform, can you please keep the reactions coming, keep them coming, keep them coming. I don't want to see any person on this platform who is not reacting. If you're on this platform and you are not reacting, we'll probably consider pulling you out. So keep reacting until Sir Blessing Mene takes over the stage. So, sir, you are highly welcome. You can start, sir.
Thank
If
you
you've
very
not heard
much,
his voice, just
Daniel.
keep the reactions coming.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the introduction. Mr. Elvis, thank you very much. Really, really appreciate the introduction and the invitation to participate in this your fantastic program. I very much buy into the vision and the mission of what you're trying to accomplish. And my hope is that every single person listening to me today would be blessed, and you would learn so much. You would not just only learn, fire will be sparked up in your heart. Fire will be sparked up in your heart. Hope will be restored in your heart as you listen to me. Ideas would begin to break out. Concepts and insights will begin to break out in your heart and in your mind as you listen to me today. And as you listen to me today, something will happen to you. What will happen to you is that you would experience what I call heart enlargement. Heart enlargement. You would begin to see things from a different point of view. Someone said that man's mind, once expanded to a new possibility, will not shrink back to the way it was before, which means once your mind gets stretched, it will not return back to its original form. It is in meetings like this that lives are changed. It is in meetings like this that people hear things that they run with for the next 10 years. It is in meetings like this that questions you've been asking for years, questions that have been running to and fro in your heart, in your mind, worrying you. It is here you will get those answers. They will begin to drop in your heart. They will begin to drop in your mind. So make sure you pay attention and make sure you pay attention, because once you pay attention, you would hear what you should hear to move on to your next level. So I'm super excited to be here today. The topic for our conversation today is really around agribusiness, right? Understanding the agribusiness landscape. And very importantly, I know a lot of you are very interested in how do you raise money, right, for your business. So may I just ask quickly, how many of you are currently into any form of agribusiness, whether it is production, whether it is access to market, whether it's processing? If you could just type it in the chat, just say, I grow cassava, or I grow chicken, or I process fish. Just type it in the chat so that I can see quickly, so that I can customize what I'm teaching today to specific value chains. Okay, so just type what your agribusiness does. And if you do not currently do anything, just type I plan to do this. Okay. Just like, yeah, great. Thank you, David. So David recycles waste materials. That's fantastic. Gatello produces and processes catfish. Fantastic. Daniel grows rice. Okay, love that. Okay, confidence exports agro food. Okay, that's good. Let's have more. Okay, Sophia does poultry farming, cattle farming, and also owns an orchard. Oh, fantastic. Is that an apple orchard? Opala does grows vegetables. Okay, same thing with Omer Noah. Okay, okay. Ajadi dries organic vegetables. Oh, that's good. Kuyoro does palm oil and then he grows corn and cassava. Okay, fantastic. So we're talking about both the crop value chain and we're also talking about the livestock value chain today. Aderemi, oh, those agro-food business. Okay, I can see people who produce catfish, poultry farming, palm oil, cocoa, cashew. Oh, chili. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, you do crop plantations. Okay, this is good. So we have a lot of agribusiness people here today. Florence does exportation. Okay, Jaros. Ah, I like that name. You're the first human being I'm seeing bearing that name outside of. Okay, that's good. Jaros Peter. Oh, nice. Okay, you plan to go into palm oil and poultry farming. Okay, okay, this is good. This is good. Okay, well, I will just, okay, egg aggregation, Chisholm. Oh, that's a good business too. Okay, this is fantastic. So UTALIA 2.0, let's get started. Um, I think a lot of you will agree with me that agriculture in Nigeria could be very rewarding, right? It could be very rewarding, especially if you're into production. You have the opportunity to bring out your creativity, to replicate your God nature by producing, creating almost out of nothing. So for those of you who do poultry or catfish farming, you would understand that you have to get your day-old chick or your fingerlings, and then through the process of nurturing, after maybe a couple of months, you then have your harvest. The same thing with those of you who do cassava farming or palm oil farming and the likes. So the issue many times is that as we do these sort of production activities, most of us get into this type of business without really a lot of education, right? So if you're like me, years ago, I studied chemistry and I also studied education. I took courses in veterinary medicine and surgery at the Ahmadu Bello University. So when I came out from school, one of the businesses I did was to set up a poultry farm, right? And I remember that first poultry farm that I set up. After some time, I think running that farm, after like 2-3 weeks, you begin to see the chickens, the legs of the chicken bend to the left and right. And I was really confused, like, oh my God, what's going on? And eventually figured out later that they probably had Newcastle disease, and we lost a lot of that investment. So every single person who has done some form of agriculture before um, has experienced some form of losses. So the foundation of everything, especially when somebody runs at a loss, is the same thing that happens when maybe Bayern Munich or Arsenal plays against Chelsea and one team defeats the other team. And usually, many times, the people who win the championship, they are the people who have the most knowledge, the most skill, and understand the nature of winning, right? Um, Most of us, like for me, when I started my journey, I did not understand what it takes to win. I didn't say what it takes to do the business or what it takes to manage the business. I say what it takes to win. So just because you have a scientific background or a medical background or an agricultural background does not necessarily mean that when you go into farming or when you go into some sort of processing, you are going to be successful. Mm. So that's the first thing. Even if you studied that particular subject, in order to win, you need to know what it takes to win. You need to know what it takes to win. With that being said, fast forward, so we lost a lot of those investments at the beginning phase. I also remember someone who was very close to me. The person was into catfish farming. They had like a little bit a hatchery and stuff like that. And this was years ago, I think in Delta State. Yeah. And they tried to host a major event in town. They advertised it on I think DSTV, Rainbow TV, and stuff like that. It was a big event. They rented a big hall, expecting farmers from across the state to show up for this training on how to hatch catfish and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I think it was just the person who organized the program, and I think we just like one or two other people who showed up for the event, a big hall like this, and nobody came. So everything wasted. And that was also another reality of doing agricultural business. So every time people fail, they either blame God or blame some environmental reasons. What people don't do is that it's just like playing football. Like we can form multiple teams here and go and compete in the even the local league here in Nigeria. But the truth is that in order to win, you need to be trained. You need to be trained. You need knowledge. You need education. You need insight. You need insight. You need to get into the game, learn how to play the game, practice playing the game. Then you will now begin to understand that that knowledge you have is just the bare minimum to even be a part of the game. Then after that, you will then learn what it takes to win. That is when you now find out that, in order for you to have a team that has a Ronaldo or a Ronaldinho or a Messi, you need to start cautioning those guys right from when they are below 10 years old. So which means winning started 20 years ago, which means the people who win the next 5 or 6 World Cup are being trained today. So if you don't even have a team of kids today that are being trained, just kiss the official World Cup goodbye, because you have not even started having a conversation. Do you understand? So winning, from my experience, requires knowledge and requires strategy. So there's something we call working knowledge, which means you understand the inner workings of this type of business, right? And then the second thing, you need strategy. What is strategy? Strategy is really, it's a military term that generals use when they're trying to sort of like go for war, right? Or they're trying to go fight. One country is fighting against the other. So essentially, you understand your opponent, number one. Then number two, you understand yourself. Then number three, you need to then understand and develop a plan for how you would win. Then number four, you then need to look at your plan and ascertain what are the risks involved in your own plan. Like, why would this plan fail? Right? And then number five, you need to develop what we call mitigation efforts, right, to solving that plan. So let me use a simpler example that everybody here would understand. So let's say you want to read a book, any book. It could be your Bible, it could be Think and Grow Rich, it could be your agricultural textbook, anything at all. Or you say you want to watch a video. That's a goal. Okay, that's good. What is your strategy? Your strategy is that, okay, maybe you're married like me, and you have a beautiful wife like me. Her birthday is today. So let me wish her a happy birthday. Okay. So and maybe you have some wonderful kids like me. So you should know that. So maybe your goal, you have the goal to finish this book, right? Maybe in 1 week, or let's say 1 month. So your strategy, your plan would then be like, okay, I'm going to read this book 2 hours on Saturdays. 2 hours on Saturdays. So in 4 weeks, 8 hours, I'll be done reading this book. Good. Your strategy is now, what time am I going to read this book? Because remember, you have kids. So during the day, they will be jumping around making noise, right? and you probably have other activities. Therefore, maybe you would then determine that in order to read this book, I need to wake up 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. to read this book. Or when everybody has gone to bed, 10 p.m. to, do you understand, 12 midnight. So strategy involves understanding your plan and ascertaining when is the best time to implement it and what would prevent you from taking like those steps. You see, so the year started, a lot of people said New Year resolution, a lot of people set goals and other sort of things. But the reason we are now in March, some people now, their goals have entered voicemail because you just realize, man, I'm not going to achieve anything again this year. And the reason for that is because there was no strategy. Do you understand? So I'm trying to go deeper, right? That when you have a goal, you must outline the steps you will take, and you must determine when would be the best time to do it, considering the limitations present in your life and in your environment and in your business. So I'm coming to a point. So in assessing the failures, disappointments, shortcomings, the challenges, the problems you are facing, really, you would even figure out that actually you are just not knowledgeable enough, aka you're not as smart as you thought, right? Okay, it's not about motivation, it's just that there are specific things you did not handle as part of your strategy. So for example, if you're going to read the book and you did not plan well or think deeply about when would be the best time to read it, you know you are going to read this book by 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. Then you ate a big bowl of starch and banga soup 6 p.m. in the evening on Friday evening. TGIF. You already started failing. You see it. So really, success is really not that hard. It's just that people don't take time to strategize enough. You see, to think through the several layers of complexity needed to succeed. Okay, so I'm trying to use common examples, simple examples that everybody can relate to it. Then I will tie it to running a business or running agriculture. Right now, how does this apply to business? So for us, when I ran the poultry farm and all that, like looking back 15 years or almost 15, 20 years now, I can now see the reason why that first venture that I tried to run in terms of my first commercial poultry farm, why it failed. It failed because number one, maybe the room where we grew the chicken was not well ventilated. Number two, heat, right? Number three, the utilization of the right veterinary medications at the right time. Do you understand? Number four, there was really no plan as to who we're going to sell the products to. We just knew that we were growing chicken, and when they were ready, we just sell them anyway. We don't have the contact details. We don't know exactly who those chickens are moving to. You see, so in order to execute a venture or to achieve your annual goals or your annual sales target, you need to be very detailed. Set your goals, set the plans, examine the specific steps, which you call key activities you need to take for that goal to happen. Then you will then begin to play the devil's advocate as to like what can stop me from accomplishing this and why. Do you understand what is the best time to do this? And then you systemize everything on paper. You need to use paper to do this thing. Then maybe after you're done, you can then transfer it to your sort of like Excel sheet. Okay. Now, one of the things I am seeing, because I run a company called VetSac, and part of what we do in my firm is to invest in agribusinesses. So we invest specifically in poultry and catfish, aquaculture generally, across 1/3 of Nigeria. And we see a number of things, right? We see a number of challenges. I've also sort of like advised and worked with folks who have done crop farming and the likes. And I can tell you for sure that there are specific reasons why these businesses struggle, right? Number one, you have, I took our time to sort of like, what do you call it now? write down some notes. You have cases of people not starting with the market first. So if you are going to do agribusiness, this is a best practice. Always start with the market. So if, for example, you wanted to produce catfish, my advice is always go into the sales and distribution of catfish first. Just go and start selling catfish. Go to other people's farm, buy the catfish yourself, or go to people's farm and register your service that, hey, I would like to help you sell maybe X tons of catfish. You understand? Just try to understand the demand side of the business first, right? Once you understand that side of the business, then you can then start with come back to production. This is how agriculture works. And also, most of the profit is not really in the production or in the manufacturing side of the value chain. A lot of the profit is around value addition, is around sales, is around distribution. So the closer you get to the customer, the more profitable you become. Okay, that would be a second best practice I would like to share with you today. Then number 3, write this code down. A farm is not a hotel. A farm is not a hotel. A farm is not a hotel. What do I mean by that? I've gone to, I've seen, there was this guy who was doing, like, he was into construction of fish farms, especially around the Lagos area. And I think this happened probably, it should be getting to roughly maybe 7-8 years ago, thereabout. I remember visiting some of the farms they had constructed in Lagos State. Boy, those farms were very expensive. They had to cast the entire pond. Like they casted the catfish ponds. And casted them many. If you enter the place, it's so beautiful. I was like, wow. Now the thing is this, is that you've spent hundreds of millions, right, constructing these ponds. The question is like, who is good? It looks beautiful, that's good, but the farm may never be profitable again, right? You know why I said so? I said so because if you spend 100 million, for example, constructing just ponds, like how much fish, right? Or you spend 500 million constructing ponds, right? How much fish do you need to sell to be able to even break even? So agriculture or profitable, let me use the word profitable agribusiness, is more about functionality than aesthetics. You guys understand? It's more about functionality than aesthetics. Okay, so one of the top mistakes or traps people fall into is giving more attention to how beautiful the farm should look like. You know, spending a lot on infrastructure without doing the business analysis to say, you know what, if we are going to spend 100 million on this project, how many years do we need and how much quantity of products do we need to manufacture or distribute in order for us to break even, like recover our investment and pay back? Do you understand? Or even become profitable? And so part of what you will see across Nigeria, Poultry Association of Nigeria released data, was it last year and 2 years ago? They said about 30 to 40% of poultry farms in Nigeria shut down, either shut down or they downscaled production. FAO, Fish for ACB Project, released their own data, roughly about going almost 1-2 years now, and they say that more than 30% of fish farms in Nigeria have closed down. They've closed down, like they're not operating. And then we're seeing a huge trend here. People who have what do you call it now? Ponds, for example, they have either maybe somebody has 10 or 20 ponds, big ponds, but they don't have the money to feed all the fish inside, right? So they have to produce smaller and smaller. And so one of the challenges we're seeing in Nigeria is that because the price of feeds is going up, price of day-old chick is going up, it means that if you retired, right, from agriculture or something, and you went from your government work or oil company work, and you went into farming with 50 million or 100 million, what will happen is that year on year, if you're not profitable, your working capital will begin to shrink. And so 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, the man who had a big farm business, the business has reduced to almost nothing. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. One of the things we're also seeing as we work with organizations is that we're seeing a huge demand for funding. And in fact, was it KFW did a research here in Africa, and they realized that I think the funding gap right now is over 180 to 200 billion US dollars for Africa. And I think about half of that is just Nigerian market alone. So the amount of money needed to boost agriculture in our country today is over $100 billion. So which means everybody needs financing, or most people within the sector need financing, like heavy financing. Yes, heavy financing. So don't think of yourself as someone who is out of line if you find yourself in a situation where you need to raise capital and you're feeling guilty about it. No, it is a common thing in this part of the world. Okay. Yeah. Now let's talk about how do you assess capital? What are the opportunities? Let's start with the opportunities in the agricultural sector. So I'll start first with the input side. So there is a huge opportunity around aggregation. For example, corn, for example, and this is just pure common sense, that if you go into the production of corn and you do it well, you can never be poor in life. Okay? There are things that you farm that if you do them well, corn, soybeans, even right from the days of Joseph, corn has been a big deal. You understand? So corn, soybeans, those two things, they have high demand for human consumption as well as for livestock production. So chicken, they're eating these guys, fish is eating, what do you call it? Piggery is eating, cattle is eating. So another lucrative business is cattle business. And not just the growing of the cattle itself, like from what do you call it, breeding of cattle. I would like you to consider just going into cattle fattening. So you buy the calf, you fatten it for maybe a couple of months, and then you sell it off, right? Even for those who do piggery, you can just focus on, piggery fattening. That's your business. So one of the limitations or so I see in agriculture is people trying to do too many things. Okay, so for example, you see somebody who runs a poultry farm, maybe they produce eggs, right? The same person has a feed mill, the same person is doing broiler production, the same person is doing turkey production, the same person has a fish pond, the same person has rabbits, the same person, so they say it's an integrated farm. Well, that's good. But if you want to be highly successful, focus. Just focus. I didn't even use the word specialization. Focus, right? So your likelihood of succeeding if you're just doing broiler farming is very high. Your likelihood of just doing one thing is very high. So agriculture is not as simple as people think. It's quite complex. So let me explain. Let me use catfish. Then I will use palm plantation also. So imagine someone, or let me use poultry, since that one might be way easier to understand. So imagine broiler farming, you're doing turkey farming, you're doing what do you call it? Quail farming and stuff like that. Do you know each of these are different species of birds that behave differently, eat differently, consume food differently, have different production cycles? So each time you go into trying to combine all of these things, it destroys your focus. Someone said that if you have one goal, your likelihood of success is about 60% or so, or 60-something percent. Once you have two goals, your likelihood of succeeding for each of those goals drops down to 40-something percent. Then once you have three goals, your likelihood of success drops to 30-something percent or 20-something percent. So the more goals you have, right, the worse your performance will become. In fact, in the history of running my company, there was a year. So my company, we are very creative. So we used to have different products. We have telemedicine products, software for vet doctors. We had software for farmers, software for this, software for this. And this was us. This was way, way, way years ago, way before COVID. Guess what happens? We needed different teams to market each of these products. We were just distracted. And so 1 year, I killed all the products and left one. So I terminated each of like all the different products. I was even looking for who to dash them to, terminated them and just focused on one. It was that one product we focused on that broke us out as a company. We just said, you know what, we wanted to help farmers keep proper records so that farmers can keep their digital records well. And with these digital records, they can go and get access to capital from banks. That was the singular thing that made my company successful. Because our eyes we now begin to discover more insights. So when you say you're doing just, I'm going to specialize in broiler farming for 6 weeks or 5 weeks, or I'm going to go into egg farming, be the best at it. Just close your eyes. Avoid all the temptations that will make you want to do multiple things and combine together, especially if you don't have the capacity. Just pick 1 or 2 value chains and specialize in them. Okay, that's something I would encourage you to do. Something else, which I probably said before, is that get closer to the markets. Okay, so think of the iron. I don't know, you're probably in a building listening to me. So in Nigeria, all our windows have burglary, right? You have this metal to protect people from entering your house through the window. Now, to buy that metal for your window right now, maybe it's going to cost 20K or 30K or 50K, right? Let's say 50,000 naira. But did you know that same metal, if you took that metal to the company that produces Rolex wristwatch, they will take that same metal, they will process that metal, and they will create springs. Those springs, they use them in Rolex wristwatch, right? And one Rolex wristwatch will be costing you $5, $10, $20,000 for one. So that same your protector like this now, if you give it to an artist, they would repackage it. They can redesign it into a sculpture and sell it for 100, 200, 300, $500,000 and 1,000 naira. The same thing, right? So which means that everything was once subjected, or raw materials once subjected to your creativity and to your brands, would produce a different type of value and income for you. What do I mean? I'm saying that you could grow 10,000 catfishes and spend maybe 10 million naira growing them. But if you had a way to sell roasted fish, one catfish that you would have sold for 2,000-3,000 naira, once that catfish is roasted, that same catfish, you can sell just one for maybe 10,000. I mean, I think that was some months ago in Lagos. I went out with some of my friends. We went to, in the evening, we wanted to just eat fish. And we bought one catfish for, I think, roasted catfish. Was it 12 or 15,000 naira? One. Why? Because the guy added value to it. So the more you get closer to the consumer, the more money you're making. So think about your strategy well. Another thing I would like to share with you today is that there is no pride in calling yourself a farmer. You can't go to a bank or First Bank now. You can't go to First Bank now and say, I'm a farmer, so you want to withdraw money. Okay? You cannot just go to any bank, even OPay, or so you cannot do that, right? Say, I'm a farmer. So when you're trying to make decision on your business or what direction to take, always use a clear mind. Forget about social status. Forget about how this thing will make you look. Like when you enter and say, oh, this guy's a farmer. You raise your shoulder. No, leave that one. Think about the numbers, right? Don't let pride enter your heart. And don't just copy people. You see this one is doing this, you shook your head, enter. You see this one is doing this, you shook your head. No. Sit down and think about it and then analyze the numbers. Like, be very pragmatic in your decision making, especially when you're deciding what direction to take in terms of your business. Then let me dive deep a little bit. I want to wrap up in like 5 minutes, but let me talk about fundraising, like raising capital. So there are different types. So money is not just money. Money, there are different types of money actually. So there is loan, is a way to access money. It's a type of money you get from a bank or your family member or whoever. It comes with an interest. Okay. Number two type of money is what we call equity. So you might want to start up an agribusiness or something like that. It's going to cost you X amount of money. Sometimes a way to go about it is to divide the company into two, right, or three, and sell portions of it to other people who become co-owners or stakeholders in the business. And just because somebody owns equity does not necessarily mean they have to work in the company as a staff. They could just be director, they could be advisor, they could be something like that, but they don't need to be there physically with you, especially if you guys had that agreement from the beginning. So you can still maintain control over the company and over how you report to them. The third type of money is grants. So where do grants? What are grants? GRANTS, grants. So these are essentially, in quotes, free money that is being given by usually the governments of your country, maybe the Nigerian government or government of foreign countries. And these are all the money is coming from foundations or from rich people who are trying to look good, right, by donating their money. The people like Bill Gates and stuff like that, right? You know, and stuff, or like all some of all these billionaires you hear about, they set up like Rockefeller Foundation and co, right? They're trying to donate and help, in quotes, the masses, you know. So but in order to get this grant, so there's grant money. In fact, Bill Gates has announced that he wants to close down his foundation, I think within 10 years. So Bill Gates has so much money that if he starts spending like 1 to 5 billion every year, or 1 billion per month, or $500 million per month, the money will not finish till like 2030 something. You see it? So there's money, and it's not just Bill Gates. There are a number of organizations that have resources that they want to spend. They want the money to go to do good. So agricultural sector is one of the main sector, agriculture and health, right, as some of the main sectors that receive this type of funding. So the way you get it is to apply. So usually these organizations will do like a call for proposals or a request for proposal, or they will do competitions, right? They will ask you to apply, and once you apply, you get sort of selected. You know, now the thing with these sort of applications is like they usually would tell you, oh, they would be donating $10,000, $20,000, 50,000, 100. So they will announce the amount of money they're giving. So they can say we're giving $10 million this year, and this $10 million will be distributed across 50 companies, from $50,000 to $100,000 or more. Okay. So yes, please get your questions ready. So you need to apply for this. Now, to position yourself, there are a number of best practices. Number one, I always advise, make sure you have a credible business that is already functional, that can do well without grants. Don't wait. Don't outsource your responsibility to a donor or to a funder. Somebody said that, or think of it this way. Imagine you're trying to go somewhere and you're trying to use the public bus or bike to go to that place. Your likelihood of taking a bus that is just parked by the road doing nothing is very low. Everybody likes to join a moving bus or a moving bike or a moving vehicle. A vehicle that is already moving, succeeding without the help of external facilitators. That is what is attractive to a funder. Do you understand? It's almost like a man and a woman, boyfriend, girlfriend thing, you know. If the lady is doing well and she's successful on her own, and she's not a sort of like trying to be a liability to the guy. She's more attractive and more valuable to the guy. Does that make sense? I'm trying to use like very simple examples that you guys can connect with. Okay. So it is the same thing with donors. Then number two is that when you want to apply for grants, you need to have like what we call a project. A project is essentially, for example, let's say you want to train 1,000 young people on how to do catfish farming or poultry farming or palm oil farming and palm farming or cocoa farming, right? You want to train them, empower them, and get them to know how to do this type of business. So in order to do that, maybe to implement that kind of training project, you need 100 million naira to probably train 5,000 people. That is a project you can package and take to a donor and apply for funding. You need to be legally registered. You need to make sure you're registered with CAC. Make sure you have audited bank accounts. So make sure that the money of your company is not going to your pocket. Make sure that your company is registered, your company has its own bank account, and you're separating your company's money from your money. So if you are the kind of person who your customer is paying, they're sending to your personal account, problem. Make sure you stop it from today. Try to next week go to CAC, just 20 or 50K. You open a company account, go to your bank, open an account. Then when you sell or when you're trying to sell, you're trying to buy things, use the accounts, that company account to do those transactions. Then at the end of the month or at the end of the harvest cycle, pay yourself a salary. Because that money is not your money, it is the company's money. And in order for you to attract funding, you need to show that this company has been running on its own independently. Do you understand? So this is why I teach people that every company, there are different type of human beings in the company. So there is what we call the owner of the company. There's what we call the directors of the company. Those are the people in the that the government recognizes as the owners on the CAC certificate or CAC registration and all that. Then there's what we call the executives of the company. So I can be the founder, I can be the director, and I can be the CEO, but these are different responsibilities. Do you see it? So I can decide to step down as a CEO and employ somebody else as CEO under the executive. Then after the executive, you then have your normal staff. Do you understand? Which is like your managers, Then under your managers, you then have your foot soldiers, essentially. Do you understand? Well, let me pause here so that we can use the next 10-15 minutes to do Q&A and I can answer specific questions. Okay. And you could also type your questions if your background is clear. I hope this was beneficial to you. Let me hear questions. So that we can. Okay, we see. And David's hands are up. And make sure when you ask a question, go straight to the point. Okay. David, you might need to unmute yourself. Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you very much for every of the insights. It was really, really helpful.
You're welcome.
So my question, so basically, I run an agricultural recycling business, and we work partner with
I think I lost
farmers,
David there.
whereby we discover that they don't make maximum profit from their produce. So we now work with them to get their waste materials after processing. So a couple of them started to process. So we now work with them to get their waste materials, and we do like some recycling. They now supply to industrial companies. So we are the intermediary between these farmers and the industrial companies that will need, the recycled materials. So we have been running that for quite some time, and one of the major issues that we had was logistics, because a lot of persons don't want to go into the village to get these waste materials. So we had to get into a level of partnership for us to be able to get a trailer that takes the materials and supply to this industrial company.
Mm-hmm.
So for for a while now, we have been doing, I think as at last month, we still supplied over close to 300 tons of these materials to these industrial companies. But recently, there was an hike in diesel price where it's like greatly affected and reduced our profits drastically. So, but before
Mm-hmm.
now, we are going into exportation because we discovered that there are some companies outside Nigeria that will be needing these materials for as a source of biofuel, but we have not really been able to get a way around that. But right now, because right now the industrial companies are not even increasing their prices because they give us prices to work with. But even with the hike with the diesel, it still does
Mm-hmm.
not affect. At least there should be an increase because they know
Mm-hmm.
that diesel was two of what we were buying
Yeah.
initially. We're
Yeah.
spending
What's
like
the
five.
question? Because I don't want to assume. What's the question?
Okay, so the question is, how exactly do you maybe have an idea on how exactly we can get into the exportation space for us to begin to export these materials, since we already have a track record over time?
Mm-hmm. So well, it turns out that I am not in exportation, so I do not have the skill nor the expertise to answer that question. However, if I was you and I wanted to go into exportation, what I would do would be I would search for maybe consultants who already advise people. As I would go on Google and search for who like list of exporters or consultants who support people trying to export their goods or this type of recycled materials from maybe your location or Lagos or Abuja, wherever, to this country or Europe or US. Do you understand? And then Google will provide you a list of companies. So if you spend like 1 hour or two, you'll see a list of companies and individuals and phone numbers. You just call them. Do you understand? So the issue sometimes that we're not searching. And I'm telling you, like a lot of your questions can be answered by just searching. Do you understand? Even Jesus will say something like, if you search, you will find. If you knock, the door will be open onto you. So the reason why people are expressing closed doors, they are praying, they are fasting, they are hoping, they are crying. Oh Lord, open the door. Say knock now. Knock. Which is that there needs to be an intentional effort to execute a strategy. Do you understand? So you have faced these challenges. Remember what I said at the beginning, that when you face challenges, you need to outline the challenges and write what are the blocks, the blockers you are facing, right? And think through how you want to solve them. So this is a blocker you're experiencing now. The cost of production is high, but the people buying from you are not increasing the price. Yeah, and that's not a business now. So just to pause that type of business for now, otherwise you just been sponsoring them. They know what they're doing. They know that the cost of diesel has gone up. Iran and America, they are all fighting up and down. So everybody knows that the cost of things will go up. So for somebody not to increase their price means that they are extractive. They are like your oil company or mining company that just wants to take, but they don't want to give. So essentially, they are extracting your wealth to make their own wealth. And I'm telling you, they will be selling at a higher price to whoever is buying from them. Yes, and so that's not and again, this is business. Except you are dealing with good people, the average businessman is a snake. It's a crafty human being. The average businessman wants to cheat you, wants to. Do you understand? That should be your default. Otherwise, they will use your head to. They will use you. Do you understand? So once you know that the average businessman, so it takes you dealing with somebody once, twice, then they are people of integrity. So those relationships become premium relationship. That's why you can see somebody is doing business with one person for 10 years, 20 years. You understand? So it takes time to build that sort of credibility. So make sure you don't dash your money away. They will take it. So don't dash your money away, okay? I hope this is helpful. David,
Yes, thank you very much, sir. It was.
you're
Thank you, sir.
welcome. You're welcome. Let's get more questions. So I'll answer. I can see.
There are
I
questions on the chat box.
Okay, so Chisom says I'm interested in getting egg from farmers. I don't want to own the transport companies, but I want to drive demand and ensure there's no foul play. What do you think about this business? How would you advise I approach it? Well, I have a friend who's running one of the biggest distribution egg distribution businesses in Lagos, and she owns her own bus to move the eggs back and forth. And I think part of the reason is like if you buy the eggs from the farm, you except you have a driver who can charge you something reasonable, you might just find out that you are better off owning the bus yourself that moves the eggs back and forth. Otherwise, you might need to spend through your nose. And again, like I tell people, at the beginning of some businesses, you might not expect to make big profits, right? You can just do it to learn. So go and distribute. So you can set a target that I'm going to do 5,000 crates of egg in the next 3 or 6 months, and just learn from it, then improve from there. You might do well without, depending on the location. But in places like Lagos, because of the traffic and all those sort of things, cost of transportation could be very high. But it might not be the case in Benin City or in Kaduna. Yes, and maybe you can have an arrangement with a driver. Every time you want to move eggs, you pay them a fixed amount, and then they come move the eggs and stuff like that. So that is what I will do. Okay. I hope that was helpful to you. Jaru says, so from everything you have said, is that to say that small agribusiness can't ask or raise funds? For instance, a little poultry farm that is handled by a single person. Oh no, you can. You can raise funds. You can raise loans. You can raise grants. You can do equity. In fact, my company, we raised our first $250,000 just barely 6 months after we registered with CAC. So you can actually raise capital. And I teach this at Fracad Fundraising Academy. I teach this, like how to raise capital. So you can raise money. You just need to identify who is providing the funds and ask. And then please keep in mind that the average donor or funder is more interested in working with leaders than in working with individuals. So the person who is empowering the farmer is more likely to raise funds than the person who is farming. Does that make sense? Because the donor does not want to deal with 10,000 farmers. They want to deal with one person or two people who are then dealing with all these farmers. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, let's get Aye. Aye, can you ask a question? We just have barely like 1 or 2 minutes.
Hi, good evening, sir. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
good evening.
for everything that you've been saying. All right, so I'll get right into it. So, I grew peppers, habaneros, bell peppers, and I just
Mm-hmm.
started it out. And I'm curious how some people, because I've heard cases, you said something about starting from the markets before you
Mm-hmm.
produce. You want to begin with the market. And I've heard of situations where even before you plant, you already have an agreement with some company somewhere that they want to off take maybe 5 tons, 10 tons. I really don't know what quantity can be, any quantity, but something significant, and they pay you before production even begins. How
Mm-hmm.
exactly? Because I feel like that's a situation where if you are giving the financial support beforehand, that okay, this is the amount that I am going to sell for. You are not at the whims of
Mm-hmm.
market price fluctuations up, down, left, right, center. Right
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning, before you start, you already know that, oh, okay, this is what we are going to spend, this is the profits that the company is going to make. Where are
Mm-hmm.
these people willing to pay this monies upfront? Where do they exist, and how can one get in contact with them?
Okay, that's a very good question. Well, I wouldn't say they can provide you support. Support is more of a development terminology, and it's a language of weak leaders or weak business people, right? What you should be talking about is value. Value is the language of strong leaders and strong business people. Nobody's looking to support you. Everybody wants to support themselves. I mean, do you understand? In fact, the person who is donating money to you has their own agenda that they are pushing. Do you understand? So sometimes when I'm trying to collaborate even with people, I try to be very upfront and tell them this is what I want to achieve, so that they know where I'm going to, right? And then we can align on that. Now, with that being said, the interest of the buyer might be to get a stable price, right? If the interest of the buyer is to get a stable price, for example, a Black Bell, right, or a Chicken Republic, or a restaurant in your town, maybe they might say, you know what, we're buying bell peppers for, I don't know, 50,000 naira per bag. And we want to get, if we can get it for 45,000 naira, we'll be excited about that. Then you can then talk to them and say, okay, you know what, I'll supply you bell pepper for the next 3 months or so, and this is the quantity of pepper I can supply you. Would you be willing to, if I can guarantee to supply you 45,000 naira, would you be willing to pay me maybe 5 or 10,000 naira? Just a fraction of, like, upfront, just to lock in the price. They are likely going to do that if they have done business with you once or twice before. But at the beginning, nobody will want to do that because you have not yet proven, you understand, you don't have credibility. So remember what Dr. Mike Murdoch said. He said, young people trust, wise people test. Do you see it? Young people, we like to trust each other quickly, but wise people test. What does that mean? It means that the person who is running that restaurant is somebody who is probably over 40 years old. The person is experienced. This person has been cheated in the past. The person I don't strong, and the person get crocodile skin. And because of that, the person will not want to give you money upfront if they don't trust you. They don't even know your house. They don't know where your office is. To just give you money like that, oh no. They won't do. Even me that finances firms, I have to move. If I'm going to have a strategic partner, I have to go and visit and see for myself first before I then go into partnership. You see, because you have to see things for yourself. In a way, seeing is believing. Do you understand? It is only when it comes to the things of faith or the spirit that believing is seeing. But in the physical realm, when you're doing business, you have to, you understand? So expect to go through that process. Now, in terms of finding them, again, you can Google, you can think, you can brainstorm. And this is why the type of friends you have around is very important. Like this community, for example, UTALIA is a very good community. I don't know if there's a WhatsApp group or something, but this is a good community to say, hey guys, I want to do these kind of things. Please, can you guys spend 1 hour with me to brainstorm, right? And then you create a Google Meet link and say, oh, there'll be a meeting 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock on Saturday. Please, I'll need, even if it is 4 or 5 people that can come, that have experience with this, please come and help me, let's brainstorm. And then people will give you ideas. Somebody will say, oh, I know somebody who can do that. Do you understand? So if you have 4 wise friends, the 5th wise person is you. If you have 4 millionaires as friends, the 5th millionaire is you. If you have 4 foolish people who are failures in agribusiness, your own company is about to crash. Do you understand? So make sure that you keep, this one people are just laughing up and down. Make sure you keep company with the right set of people. After some time, you might need to refine your relationships. 20 friends cannot be playing around for 20 years. Do you understand? So you might need to refine your relationships. Well, I want to be very respectful of our time. I don't know if my time is over, but I want to be respectful of the time I've been allocated.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, you have 2 more minutes. And there's a question I think I want you to answer.
Okay.
But I think Chisom has their hand up, but let's answer the one on the
okay, before we
chat
take
box
Chisom's,
first.
right? Okay.
Yeah, before we take Chisom's, and I think we'll draw the line there. Any other one that comes, I'll text it to you.
Okay.
You can help you just answer.
Okay.
Well, yeah, let's go with the one on the chat box first.
Gatello says, what modalities do you look out for before investing into existing agribusinesses? Say specifically your niche, poultry, catfish farming. What role do you also play in saying said business scale with this funding as industry experts? Good. And also, where would you say the major opportunities are for poultry and catfish agripreneurs going forward, considering the economic situation of the state? Well, that's a very good question, and this shows that this person understands the industry very well. Okay, so what do we look at for like with catfish or poultry farming? So for poultry farming, typically we like to see capacity. What do we mean? Somebody has a poultry pen that can do 5 or 10,000, 50,000 birds, but they don't really have the cash to, like, maybe this person has a farm that can do 20,000 birds, but they can only finance 5,000. Right, then that's a good deal for us because we can help them expand from 5 to 10,000 and then get it to 20,000, right? And that's our interest. That's for us. That's the biggest criteria. Number one. Then number two, the thinking of the person, of the CEO or the owner of the company needs to be highly entrepreneurial. So there's something I say, and I think I wrote an article on LinkedIn about this. Was it LinkedIn or my Facebook where I said that smallholder farmers, right, is a development narrative. If you are thinking as a business, see, guys, go and read about the greatest agripreneur ever, Joseph from ancient Egypt. Number one, nobody has beat that guy till today. Number one agripreneur. That's our model. This guy was running a prison and he was made prime minister of Egypt, right? And that guy implemented a national agricultural program. So it means that just because you are small today, or maybe your farm is just 100 chicken, does not mean you cannot run a 100,000 chicken farm. So the mindset of the person needs to be liberated, needs to be like, they need to be dreaming, they need to be thinking big. The only thing is that they can see their future happening, but maybe they don't have the resources. That is the person I want to partner with, because to lift that mental or psychological limitation is a lot of work, and it is your responsibility as CEO to do that. This is why I said you will experience heart enlargement. So don't be thinking, oh, I have a farm, or I don't have a farm, and then somebody says, oh, I have a farm that has 100,000 catfish, then you are shaken. No, don't be shaken by anybody. Even if the person has 1 million farm, you can run a bus on your farm. You can have that farm scale across Africa. Do you understand? So just because you don't have the resources, a lion is a lion. Even no matter the economy, a lion cannot eat grass. No matter how a lion will not eat grass. Do you understand? So those two things are critical. Yeah, we're going to look at for other things. You have collateral, normal business stuff, but those ones are not as important as these first two. Okay, I hope that answers that question. Then in terms of helping the businesses scale, I think I've explained that. Then some of here we see the biggest opportunities for catfish. I think there's opportunity around exporting, although I don't fully believe in that, because I think that there are catfish farmers in the US. The only thing they are not doing is smoking. Immediately the market gets built, and somebody publishes something that, oh, Nigerians in diaspora are buying X $1 million worth of catfish. The UK farmers and farmers in America who already grow catfish will start smoking it and selling, and then they'll cut off the Nigerian guys. So that's the long-term risk with that. I think there are opportunities in feed production. That's one area I want to invest into heavily too. Feed production will continue to be a big seller. I think there are opportunities in value addition. I have not met anybody who has a dream yet to set up a network of spots where people can eat great fish. People are still doing it one. So a kind of business I would like to invest in would be somebody who has experience or has some success, but they want to scale it up. They want to do it across Nigeria. So it's almost like a Chicken Republic, but spot. Do you understand, Elvis? Like somebody who has multiple spots across. So that when a farmer harvests 10 tons of fish, they will just move it to all their point and kill centers across the. So people are not thinking national. One of the things, I don't know if I should say this here, but one of the things I got today for my wife's birthday is spiritual, but there's a part of Psalm that says, today is your birthday, ask of me, and I will give you the nations as a gift. That thing is a mindset. Part of it is a mindset like that. You can just wake up one day and start thinking of like, oh, I can do this thing across Nigeria. You're not thinking of just one spot. Do you understand? So it takes spiritual effort and meditation to break out, to just tell yourself that actually I can be the head of Zenith Bank in the next 20 years. And then you start working towards it today. You see, that's the kind of thinking that we need as entrepreneurs and as business people. So let me just say some words over you guys to wrap up. I speak into your life that you would prosper financially. I speak to your businesses that your businesses would increase. I speak to your mind that your mind enlarges. I speak to you that you are the solution that Nigeria needs to break out. You are the leader that Nigeria needs. There's no Messiah coming from anywhere. We are waiting for you. We are waiting for you. We're waiting for your company to take over that sector. We're waiting for you to become a great person that would employ people. And we're not waiting for the federal government to employ people. We're waiting for your business to prosper so that your business will be the one that employs people. So I command you to prosper. I command the blessing of God upon you. I command the wisdom of God upon you. I command psychological barriers to be broken. I command depression to be cancelled. I command your weak mind to become strong. I command your vision to come alive. Those places where your vision has cracked, those places where you have been discouraged, I speak life. I speak light. I speak life and I speak light upon your mind, upon your spirit, upon your body, and I speak health upon you. I command that good things are happening to you. And if you're hearing my voice, you're feeling sick, I curse that sickness out of your body in the name of Jesus. I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. And I command you to go out there and prosper. And I call out your leadership gifts. A lot of you have been called to leadership, but you're still thinking like a slave. You're still thinking, and you're letting your family background to put your background on. So I command that limitation to be broken. And I pray that God will bless you and that resources will find you and that you will find resources. I pray that men of resources, men of substance will look up to you with favor, and people will run to you to support you, to help you. This is my prayer for you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can we just clap? Can we clap and appreciate it?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you so much. We're really
Elvis, thank you so much. I really appreciate being a part of this meeting. I love it a lot. And please help me send me well to our next speaker. I don't know if he's already around, but I also want to appreciate him. That's Olufemi Adesola. You're welcome. And thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Elvis. Looking forward to 3.0 UTALIA 3.0.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And that will come.
Is it okay if I share my LinkedIn or Facebook?
Yeah,
on
of course, of course. There's also a WhatsApp platform, so you could send it to me. I'll just forward it to you.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
all
nice.
right.
Okay, thank
you very much again, Blessing. We're really grateful. Yeah. So without taking much time, we'll go to the next speaker. Chisom, you had a question. You could just drop it on the chat box and we'll get to it. All right. Just drop the question on chat box, Chisom, and we'll get your question. All right. Once again, I believe we're all impacted. So we're going to go straight to the next speaker, because time is not outside. So is Daniel around? So you can read the bio of the next speaker.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
Daniel, please just go on
Around.
straight. Okay, Daniel, please just go on straight. Read the bio of the next speaker.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I believe we are all getting value. We also want to appreciate Blessing Mene for releasing such value and prophetic prayer upon us. So we want to go forward without wasting so much time to welcome our next speaker on the platform. But before I welcome him, I would like to introduce him so you would also get to know who is about to speak to you. I'm about to get into another section of heavy value. So who we're about to get now, or who we're about to listen to now, is Sir Olufemi Adesola. Sir Olufemi Adesola, the founder and chief in labor at Nico Prime, a company that is focused on the business of nature and life science, which we all sum up as agriculture. Sir Olufemi is a graduate of agriculture economics and also a master's degree holder in economics and sustainable development and an MBA in business and finance. Sir Olufemi grew up in Atam at Ota, Ogun State, in a household where only agriculture was the only source of livelihood, where he picked the interest from. And it was neither agriculture or agriculture. A Christian who loves Nigeria and believes only Africa can feed Africa. He believes so much that only Africans can feed Africa. And remember when, our convener was speaking to us on this whole sum of this conference, you get to find out that we are talking about agriculture in Africa. A family man, yes, Sir Olufemi is a family man and a very well seasoned table tennis player. So beyond the farm, he's a very well seasoned table tennis player. So this evening, Sir Olufemi is going to be talking to us on how we can venture into agribusiness. And not only that, he's also going to be talking to us on how to scale an agribusiness, particularly in livestock sector, in the livestock sector of agriculture, how you can scale. So if you are into livestock, I believe, like I said earlier, you have your writing materials. So without taking so much time, we know how we do it here with different kind of reaction to show our speaker that we are very excited. I want each and every one of us on this platform to welcome Sir Olufemi Adesola as he comes to present to us this evening. I don't believe we are tired, so our reactions should come. They are few this time around. They are few. They should keep coming until we hear his voice. If we don't hear his voice, don't stop the reactions from coming. They should keep coming until we hear his voice.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir. You're welcome, sir.
My name is Olufemi Adesola. I don't know where you got this out from, but thank you for the honor. It's really an honor to be part of this team, part of this group, and part of this program. And I really want to say a big thank you to the convener and everybody on the group, everybody listening to me, and I really hope we are able to achieve one or two things tonight. I would really like to also thank the first speaker. I think he has actually said a lot, and I will only try to buttress a little bit more on what I'm being asked to talk about, and and also make some references to what he said. Well, I believe each and every one of us, we are all born farmers, because if we look at the creation of mankind, the first human God ever created was asked to go and cultivate. So, and cultivation is the practice we all do in agriculture. So, I believe each and every one of us, we are born farmers, we are born agriculturists, we are born into the business of agriculture. So, right from creation, creating the first man, sending the first man to the farm, and asking him to cultivate, has shown us how much God loves us and how much He has prepared everything we might need. From agriculture comes every other thing. From agriculture, we have medicine, we have engineering, we have everything we can see. And we have to always give reference to agriculture. My only challenge is that most of us, especially with the younger generation, we are not taking a good or a sufficient part in this line of life. Most of us, we are either not doing agriculture the way we should, or we are probably not even interested because we probably don't like being called a farmer. I grew up in a household in Ogun State, in a suburb part of Ogun State called Atonota, and all we did was to practice agriculture. And I remember when I was growing up, I would tell most of my friends, I'll say, you know what? The only advantage and the only hope I have is that at least I saw my father, he built a house. So I'm like, okay, if we can build a house from farming, at least I'm sure that even if I don't achieve anything in life, I'll be able to build a house. And right from my life, right from my younger age, I've always wanted to do agriculture. So venturing into um, going into the university, I was not confused about what I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was to do agriculture because I believe that there is no way I'm going to do agriculture that I'm ever going to go hungry. And if we look at life properly, the way God has designed life, every month of the year has a peculiar fruit, has a peculiar food that is naturally grown. From January, there is fruit, there is cashew, there are things like that. February, March, there is mangoes. So it is almost impossible for you to go hungry if you find yourself on the farm without doing any other thing. And in life, once hunger is solved, I think we've solved 60% or 70% of the entire population problem. So that tells us how important and how agriculture plays a very important role in our life. So we'll get straight to business. But the thing is, I'm probably not going to, I'm not a motivational speaker. I don't know how to maybe, maybe I don't know, maybe just motivate you or just I believe in doing the right thing. Just get to work. And this is probably one of my how do I call it? One of the few maybe program that I've ever done where I've actually spoken to people. I talk to people around me a lot. We talk a lot, but then I probably just okay want to give you results rather than talk. So we will probably not be motivating ourselves. We'll be sharing knowledge. I'll be sharing um, um, the knowledge I have from my experience, from what I've seen around, from what I've been around, from what I've read. And then we can ask one or two questions and we wrap it up for the night. So I think I want to say thank you again to Mr. Elvis. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we look forward to when we can take this program to make it the Africa TEDx, where we can bring in a lot of Africans, where we can collaborate and do a lot together. So I think you asked me to talk about the business of agriculture, how to start and how to scale. So you might pardon me a little. I might have to go back and forth because, like I told you, I'm just going to speak to each and every one of us from my experience, from my heart, and probably not um, what I wrote because I actually did not. Did not plan to maybe write something and start reading it out. I just want to share since I'm talking to my colleagues and my friends and quite a lot of younger ones. So I think the business of agriculture, like I said, is a business of nature. That is the first business ever created by the creator. And agriculture as a core, as a way of life, uh, as the business side of it. I think that is the reason why I actually went for agricultural economics because The agricultural economics is the business side of agriculture, where you're able to merge different aspects of agriculture, and you're able to get value, wealth, and employment opportunities in the agricultural chain. So I think one of the ways to actually start is by understanding what agriculture itself is. And most of the time when I talk around my friends, when we talk, I say, come, if you are doing agriculture, you are doing business with God. You are doing business with God. So you have to watch how you actually do it. You cannot do agriculture as a means to maybe be dubious to people, to 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 just do it because you are looking for quick money. Agriculture is a business you would do that might take some time. It takes time to grow. It takes a lot of challenges. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. But at the end of the day, it is something that is going to last you a lifetime, even to your generation. So talking about the business of agriculture is a business you have to treat like a business and not treat it just as a lifestyle as okay because you just need some money, or maybe you just want to have something to do. It's something that you have to be keen about. So and if we are going to maybe look into the agricultural aspect on its own, we have the agronomy. Those are the people planting, the people doing the palm plantation, the ginger, and all sorts. The horticulturists, the people who does flowers and all that, the animal science, the animal husbandry, the agricultural engineering, the agricultural economics. Yeah, I think the fisheries to go under animal science. These are some of the few channels. These are some of the few branches of agriculture. So as someone who wants to do agribusiness, I think the first thing is to decide which part, which branch of agriculture do you want to venture into. And may I please say these two? I think there's a branch of agriculture now that we can call the social media agriculture. Because these days, when you go online, you see quite a lot of people doing agriculture, but then that is not agriculture. Because what they are doing is actually talking to people about what they probably know nothing about. But we will probably not talk much about that. But then we need to decide on our own what branch of agriculture, because there is no branch of agriculture that has no value. Every branch of agriculture has a value. Every branch of agriculture has a space for the younger generation. Take, for example, there is one, as I was talking, something came to me that I just asked you, like, okay, this agricultural engineering is an aspect of engineering that we, the younger generation, have not tapped into at all. And it is a multi-billion-dollar investment. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. In our company, we've been trying to buy some machineries to improve our production, to improve our products. And you need to see the prices we are getting for all these the machines. We get some quotes as much as $2 million. And all these machines are being sold in Nigeria. These are some areas of agriculture that a lot of younger generation, a lot of our generation are not even interested in. And all we are maybe keen about is, oh, how do I plant? How do I do this? Yes, planting is also part of agriculture, but are we actually involved in the real business of agriculture where we are able to get quite a lot of money, quite a lot of value, and quite a lot of things. So I think one thing, the first step after deciding the part of agriculture you want to go into, the first step is to decide and ask, this branch of agriculture that I'm going into, what is the problem in this branch of agriculture that I'm going into that I want to solve? If it is agricultural economics, what is the branch of agricultural economics? What part of agricultural economics Do I really want to? Do I really want to be a part of? Do I really want to solve a problem? Do I really want to? Do I really want to provide a solution? I think that is the first step, because that is going to be your driving force. If you're going into agronomy, you need to ask yourself, what is the problem with the people? What are the challenges going on in the industry of the agronomist? What are the farmers? What are they crying about? What do they need? What is something? You can even go as far as looking at, okay, what is one thing that the farmers import to boost their productivity? Okay, this is a challenge. And this challenge is not available in Nigeria. That is why it is being imported. And that is why you want to go into the business, into the branch of agronomy. What is the branch of horticulture? What is the branch of animal science? What is the branch of fishery that you have a solution that you've been able to recognize a problem about that you really want to solve? So I think that is the first step. Once you understand that, okay, I'm going into take, for example, palm production. What is one thing that the farmers are complaining about? What is one thing that the distributors are complaining about? What is one thing that the end users are complaining about? And you're able to, okay, this is why, and this is what I want to tackle. And trust me, that is one area where you are able to create value and where you'll be able to make create wealth without getting really frustrated. But tonight, most of my discussion will be basically more on livestock, like like what we were told. So we would focus tonight basically on the livestock value chain. And the livestock value chain is a chain that is an unending chain. From one chain, we get ourselves involved in another chain and another chain and another chain. But I think we will be able to maybe buttress more on about five value chain, or maybe five or six value chain in the livestock production. But in this in this chain, in this livestock chain, we'll be able to realize that all branches of agriculture is definitely involved. I think the number one livestock value chain is the input supply. The input supply is the chain, is the branch in the livestock value chain whereby all the raw materials come in. This is where the people doing the agronomy, the one planting the corn, the one planting the maize, the one planting the soybean, the one planting the ginger, the one planting the turmeric and all that. This is where they come in, because they are the input suppliers. They are the ones who supply the feed millers, because the feed mill is the first step, because that is one part of agriculture that takes about 75% of the entire capital chain of livestock. The input suppliers, those are the people doing the maize, those are the people doing the soybean, and those are the people doing the maybe additive business. And this chain that we are talking about is involved has about three processes: the people, the farmers planting on the farm, the suppliers, the aggregators, and the end users, which are the feed millers. So look at just one chain. The input supply has about four chains: the farmers, the suppliers, the aggregators, and the end users. Just one chain from the livestock chain has about four chains. So if you as someone who is interested in agriculture decides to venture into agriculture, you can choose one of these. And if I'm going to be honest with you, you honestly do not actually need money to start. Okay, if you know a farmer, or if you can travel to the north, or if you can meet up with someone who does maybe commercial agriculture, and you're like, okay, I can help you sell your product, or you come to a feed miller. We basically do feed to a feed miller. Okay, I have this social amount of base that I want to sell. Okay, we either give you an LPO, we discuss on the payments, we discuss on the delivery mode. You go to the farmer and you tell the farmer, oh, I have someone who wants to buy your corn. That makes you a middleman. That makes you a supplier. That makes you an aggregator. You are able to have, let's say, even if it is 5 naira on the corn to the feed millers, on 30 tons, you're earning 150,000. Let us assume you supply 30 tons and you supply 10 in a week. I think that is a good money, no matter how bad or how terrible the economy is. So in the input supply under the livestock, that is one. That is one form of employment that can be of good help to us as a youth and to us as a nation and to us as agricultural practitioners. And it is so sad that most of these things that we will talk about is not even tapped into, especially by we, the university graduates, because we feel like maybe it is too dirty to do, or we don't want to go to, we probably don't want to get dirty, we don't want to do this, we just want to sit in our several offices and assume that we need some big amount of money. But I've seen quite a number of people who are billionaires doing this, standing in the middle, being a supplier, being an aggregator, just getting goods from the farm to the end users. They mark their profit and they make um, um, a good amount of profit. Under the input supply, aside from the feed milling, we have the people doing the chicks. We have people who go as far as going to Ibadan, going to hatcheries, supply the farmers, they mark their profits, and they're able to sustain a good living. Under the same chiefs, we have the hatchery operators and several others. We have the people doing the drugs, we have people doing the vaccines, we have people doing the cage. The cage is a form of agricultural engineering. And most agricultural engineers that graduated from the university, they are not, they don't even know maybe to align a cage system together. They don't know, but all they are doing is, oh, there is no employment, there are no jobs. But the guy doing the cage by the roadside in many of these small welding situation in maybe in the southwest, in the north and other, they are making good amounts of money. Good amount of money. Many of them, the only thing and the only difference is that, oh, we assume, oh, they didn't go to school, they don't. But these guys are making a hell of money. And these are the opportunities. All these things we don't need, you don't need, I don't need money to even do that. All you need is to acquire the skill, be humble enough to acquire the skill, because you might learn it from someone who did not go to school. Be humble enough to acquire the skill, meet up with the buyer, meet up with the person selling the irons. I think we are even losing it now with the people making the irons, because most of all these cage systems now, we've left it and it is being imported. But I remember 20, 30 years ago, there was nothing like that. We had our cage system in Nigeria and they lasted for years. So let us move on to another part of the livestock value chain is the farming. I think the first speaker spoke a lot about farming. You know, the farming is the poultry, the fishery, the piggery, the cattle, and even snail. Snail also is a lot of money. Under this value chain, there's a lot of chain involved. If it is the poultry, what part of the poultry sector do you want to play in? Do you want to play in the broiler production? Do you want to play in the in laying birds? Do you want to play in the breeder birds? Do you want to play in that chain? Do you want to play in duck? Do you want to play in quail? There are many opportunities like that. There's even one opportunity that keeps coming to my head sometimes. I'm like, who is going to start going into wildlife? Because most of all these things we travel to see, they were being exported from Africa. who is going to go into wildlife, who is going to create an environment where an average African child does not need to leave the shores of Africa to enjoy a perfect holiday. There was a time I went to Mauritius, and I think we went to one casilas and all that, and we had a tour, and they took us around, and all I was seeing were animals, and you need to see the traffic. And if I can remember, when we paid a huge amount of money to get into this place and to actually to actually, to actually enjoy the holiday. And I'm thinking, okay, as an average African, how do we tap into all these value chains? The fish sector is also there. The first speaker spoke about that. The fish sector is the sector, there are a lot of fishes. There is, I think, the common one among us, especially in Nigeria, is the catfish, where we maybe smoke it, and the only thing we do is to export. And all we think right inside of us is that that is the best value we can get. But there are tons of other fishes. There is the pangasius. There are tons of other fishes that can be grown, and we are going to get a good value for that. Also, we can, I think, so that we don't waste much of our time, the dock is something that we are not actually tapping into very well. I remember back in the days, we would have tons of duck on the farm, and many people preferred the meat from the duck, even to chickens. Until this day, there are a lot of people looking for duck meat, looking for duck head, because the head from duck is actually bigger in size compared to the sizes of head gotten from poultry chicken. Another livestock value chain we can look into is the processing. The processing, we can look into cattle. What kind of chain do we want to go into in the cow? There are a lot of chains involved in cow processing. Take, for example, there is the bone processing, the bone meal processing. There is the kidney stone processing in cow production. There is the meat. There is the leather. That is about 4 different chains just from cow value chain. The meat, the bone meal, the kidney stone, and the leather. Back then, I think maybe about 6 years ago, bone meal was something that, maybe they would even give it to you and ask you to pay whenever you want to pay. But as I speak to you tonight, bone meal is something you have to deposit and wait for weeks before you get it. Because why? Bone meal has a huge value in the pharmaceutical industries. So the whites, the Indians, the Chinese, they are all in Nigeria packing the bone meal, the bone from cows, exporting it, cleaning it, and using it for pharmaceutical products, using it for many products. And we are not even a part of the system. We are not aware of this. Yet, all we keep saying, no, there are no jobs, there are no opportunities, and all that. The toe of a cow is what is being used in many Italian factories to produce buttons. That is another value chain. These are form of value chains that can be exported. And we don't even need to export it. We can use it in our own textile industries. Someone can sit down, read about it, make some research on it, and you're able to make your money and carve a niche for yourself. Another chain we would talk about in this livestock value chain is the chain of distribution. I don't know. I have quite a lot of colleagues. I don't know. Maybe some of them are part of us or not. But as far as I know, in this Southwest, one of the richest value chain is the chain of distribution. Feed distributors, additives distributors, just distributors, anything you can call it. Sometimes in our company, we talk about it. We're like, come, these distributors, they're making more money than we do. They have zero stress. All they have to produce the feed, produce the product, bring it to us in our warehouses. They have a distribution system. They distribute. Once they distribute, they get their rebate, they get their commission, and at the end of the day, they have they have zero impact in the production chain, because once maybe the product, if there's any challenge with the product, they will just call you. See, okay, come and carry your product. There's a problem. The customers are complaining, and the next thing they would do, they would move to the next product. But if we are going to ask ourselves, and if we are going to be honest, how much or how many amongst us is actually involved in the distribution chain? Very few, because we are not even aware about this. We know quite a number of distributors in this southwest, in this Nigeria, that earn over 50 million naira in a month just from distributing feed. That is the minimum some people earn in a month, 50 million naira, just from distributing, by distributing feed, by distributing feed products and others. The other value chain in this livestock value chain is the chain of sales. Actually, I'm always pleased about my colleagues and my team members. We talk a lot, because this sales is always the strength of any company. But it is sad that it has been hijacked by, I wouldn't want to abuse anybody, but then I'll call them rogues, because the real people who are actually doing the job as a profession, as a professional, are actually not being compensated, because they probably don't want to cut corners. And the leadership of this sales entity, the guys getting the big contracts with the companies and all that, they are not worthy of it. But because we, and some of us that understands the sales business, that understand the sales chain as a value on its own, we probably do not position ourselves as core professionals. But when you go to countries, the West, you find salespeople, sales team actually having it as a core profession, and they are getting a good value for it. These are some, if I remember any other value chain in this livestock value chain, I think I will come back to it and I will talk about it. But let's move on. The second step after you've decided the chain you want to venture into is to position yourself. I would gear more into the feed milling, the livestock industry, because that is probably my core. As an agripreneur, I think we entered into the input section, like I told us earlier, which is the feed milling, getting raw materials from farmers, using it for production and selling, because that is what the farmer needs every day. And because we want to have our company running every day, we want to have value created every day, we want to have wealth created every day, we decided to go into feed milling. So after you've been able to decide, you position yourself. Positioning yourself, after you've been able to discover the problem you want to solve, decide the chain you want to go into, then you position yourself and you start out. To be honest, I do not think we need to start out big. I remember when we wanted to start our company, we started without having much infrastructure, without having the big, how do I call it, the big outlook of a company. We never started out like that. As a matter of fact, we started without having one mixer. I don't know, people in in the feed milling industry, they know what I'm talking about. Because in feed milling, you need maybe a mixer, a crusher, and another another maybe machineries. But we never started with any of this. All we started with was maybe about, I think, 2 shovels and some raw materials. So we started by selling raw materials. Okay, let us sell raw materials. Let us let us tell people we have these raw materials. If you have a formulation, you bring it, we mix it up, and we produce your feed. As time went by, we got a mixer. After we got a mixer, we uh, we got a crusher. We got the mixer because I think the mixer was quite affordable then, more than the crusher. And the man selling the mixer to us told us, okay, you can pay twice. So we decided to go for the mixer first. So I don't think if you want to start out, you need to start out big. We started small. When the time came and we wanted to go into branding, because we had a focus, we had a target, we had what we wanted to do. And part of what we wanted to do was that we wanted to have a big chunk in this agricultural business. We wanted to um, allow Nigeria money to remain in Nigeria, because then you realize that most of the the feed mills were foreign companies, and we're like, okay, all the raw materials being used in this feed mill are being gotten in Nigeria. Why are we, the Nigerians, not using our raw materials to make a fortune for ourselves? So that was our end goal. So we decided, and then we went into branding. We got our branding done, we got our registration done, and we started. But one thing that really helped us there was that we started right. We never waited for big capital. We were focused, and we kept to a few loyal customers. And as time went by, we started to expand across the Southwest. Before we knew it, even when feed was quite cheap and feed was around 3,000, 4,000, we were running in hundreds of millions. So once you start and you're focused, and you have to give yourself the grace of time, because it's not going to happen like magic. Once you're able to do that, then you need to understand the numbers. What do I mean by the numbers? Where does your profits come from? Where do you get your raw materials? Do you need to get it from the north? Do you need to get it from the south? Do you need to get it from the east? However you need to get it, you need to get your numbers. Where are you going to get your raw materials? Where are you going to procure? Where there is hiking price, when there is scarcity, and what alternatives are in place? Should it be in case when there is no particular raw material in circulation? And I want to chip in something. This thing that I just said was one of the crises we had, because there was a time when we started, there were a lot of raw materials that we had in our disposition. There were a lot of good raw materials. Those days, there was nothing like importation of GMO seeds. There was nothing like that. These were days where the soybean meal you're going to get had the right soybean meal, properly processed, and the seeds are seed from Nigeria. So you can be certain that this seed you're using for the production of your feed is of the highest quality. So we had little or nothing to worry about. But we were actually more focused on just being inside the factory and just doing our thing. Unfortunately, we never knew that some of the raw materials were not even available. Many farmers were not working. There was a lot of insurgency. That was during the time of Boko Haram, a lot of insurgency. Farmers were not going to farm. So a lot of companies resorted into importing many of these raw materials, including maize. Before we knew it, we started having a lot of crises. A lot of complaints started coming in from customers. And before we realized what was going on, we already had quite a lot of errors because we were not prepared. We were not so self-aware that these raw materials that we were getting is not something that might last us for a long time. And we were not so prepared that during problems like this, during challenges like this, what do we do? What alternatives? Are we going to use some additives? Are we going to have to use some natural ingredients? Imagine running in a locality, running a sales of about let's say okay, let's say in one geopolitical zone, maybe 100 million. And the sales went as bad as going back to 4,000 naira just because we did not understand our numbers. We were like, this is the same soya we were using. These companies, they never told us anything. No. We kept on doing the same thing, doing the same thing, doing the same thing. It got to a point where like, maybe this is a spiritual problem and we need to pray. We started praying. And, it took maybe a lot of information, trying to talk to people around. And they're like, this is an inside gist though. This soya that these people are producing is the GMO seed though. It was imported from so, 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 and so. You don't expect your birds to get a good value from this nutrition you are feeding them. So at the end of the day, we had already lost the trust of many of our customers. So it is very important that in this livestock chain, especially in this part, you understand your numbers and you know where and how to procure your raw materials. Let me even chip this in. I remember very well then when we were getting these raw materials, especially from Maiduguri. We were getting this raw material from Maiduguri, and we would use less additives because all these additives that are being imported into Nigeria, well, I wouldn't want to maybe bash any importer or anyone. They are all, I would tell my teammates, is there any machine, is there any system we have in place in this country to determine if all these raw materials, if all these additives we are bringing in, if they are good, if they are viable? No, there is no machine for it. We just assume that whatever the white man tells us is the truth. And many times it's a lie. So we need to understand the numbers and how to secure the raw material. Another thing we should think about in this value chain is the cost of production, pricing of the product, and also the haulage system. You need to determine how do you want to run your haulage system? Do you want to contract it out? Do you want to buy trucks? Do you want to deal with the headaches of truck drivers? How do you want to go about it? And also, one major thing that I think I've learned so far in this business is that relationship matters. Relationship with your farmers, relationship with your distributors, relationship with your suppliers. There were times when we've had serious challenges, but we had some relationships. There were some relationships that we created. There were some form of trust that we created, and that gave us the room to still walk back to many of these people and tell them, okay, we still want to do business together. Myself and my teammates, a lot of time we tell ourselves, why is it that most of the time we can always go back to our customers, we can always go back to our distributors? Because when the going was good, we never acted as kings, as gods. We acted as humans and we treated them well. Same thing goes to our suppliers. Many of our suppliers, the fact that I'm a southerner and most of our suppliers are northerners, we created a law to the point that when our supply chain, when it's reduced, they came as a team to the southwest to visit us. and to tell us what can we do to help you. And when we discussed with them, okay, this and this and this, they opened a credit line that was worth hundreds of millions. And they said, okay, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that, we're going to give you this because we want you to stay in business. But when the going was good, we maintained a good relationship with them, and we opened our arms, we opened our organization to them. We were never dubious to them. So it is very important that in this livestock chain, you take this into quick cognizance, and it would help us. Like there's an adage that I know very well that comes to my mind all the time, and it is the fact that most of the businesses we see today, they thrive on relationships. Most businesses, and most of these relationships, they are all personal relationships. The same person you're trying and giving yourself ready, fasting and praying about, trying to get his contact, trying to sell to, trying to buy from, there's one person that will call that same person and won't need to talk for a long time before they do business together. That is the power of personal relationship. So we have to be careful how we manage our relationships. And I think one thing I would also talk about in starting out is to keep an open ear in the industry. I think I talked about that when we had the crisis of soybean meal. It was because I stepped out. The crisis deepened because I, as the person who was leading the team, I don't like social media. I don't like noise. I don't like talking to a lot of people. The only thing I like is to be in the factory, do what I need to do, let the product speak for itself. So that was good, but that was bad. The only good side to it was that we were able to monitor the quality properly. We were able to make decisions as fast as we could. But the issue happened, and we were not aware of what was going on. Whereas there were a lot of people outside who knew, okay, GMO seeds are in Nigeria, GMO seeds are in circulation. Don't buy this product, don't buy that. But we were just buying, and they kept selling to us without telling us. And I wouldn't blame them. They want to sell, we want to buy. So it is very important that you keep an open ear in the industry. Make meaningful friends. You don't have to be too close, but make meaningful friends. Discuss with them. Ask them what is going on. Even if you're an MD, there are managers of many companies that are bigger than some MDs. So there is no point in you being arrogant. There are people on the sales team that are bigger than you, even as an MD. You need to talk to them and ask them what is going on. Be friends with people. So let us move to the next topic to discuss on, and which is how to scale in agribusiness. Starting is very easy, just like what I've said. Scaling is the toughest because you have more products, you have more people, you have more customers to deal with. How do you scale? One of the things I've learned from scaling is that, like the first speaker talked about, you have to be ruthless when it comes to people. You have to be ruthless when it comes to saving. For about 4 years that we had our operation going on, when we planned on scaling, we never thought about getting loans because we got money, we got savings from our products. We had enough to start out our project, our factory site, to buy more machines, to buy more raw material, to go out and do more branding, to buy more equipment that we need. So it is important that we note okay, hold on. It is important that we know that, okay, Be ruthless when it comes to saving. Be ruthless when it comes to management of people. You need to be careful with staffs. You need to be careful with suppliers. The bigger you become, the bigger the challenge is. A lot of terrible suppliers will come, a lot of terrible staffs will come, a lot of predators will come. How do you manage them? How do you deal with them? The second one is structure. In scaling, you have to have a good structure, a strong structure, a structure in production, a structure in quality control, a structure in sales that prevents theft. Another thing I think you need to watch when scaling is standardization. How do you get your product standard? How do you get your staffs? How do you improve their lives? How do you make things better for them? And finally, you need to focus on solving one problem at a time. One problem at a time. Are you solving a particular problem in the layer birds? Are you solving a problem in the broiler bird? Are you solving a problem in the broiler birds before you move to the next line of action rather than doing everything at the same time? So I think these are the few points we might take home today. If we keep going back and going and going and going, we can discuss this till daybreak. But I think we should have it at the back of our mind that agriculture is easy, but agriculture is also very tough. But each and every one of us is a born farmer. And I think in in conclusion, uh, we should also have it at the back of our mind that the losses might come. How do you handle it? Losses are part of the business. The best thing is to adjust quickly, learn from the setback, and forge ahead. So I think we would take one or two business before we round it up for the night.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Adesola. Thank you very, very much. We're super grateful. Thank you very much. Before we take the question, I'll just go on to speak and round up, and then we'll get all the questions together, and then we'll call it a night because of time. So, okay, Daniel, please just go on with this by introduction, and then I'll take it up from there.
All right, sir. Okay, a minute, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, Adeshola Olufemi, for that section. And so we want to get into the last section. I believe we are all reacting in appreciation to Sir Adeshola for that insight and steering that he has just done. So we want to have on stage the man for the moment. If you've not been reacting since you began, so please make sure you start reacting from now. As I'm reading, the bio, I believe reactions should already be going on because of whom we want to introduce. He's the convener and driving progress at the intersection of sustainable agriculture and agribusiness strategy and food system innovation. Sir Elvis is the Chief Operations and Strategy Officer and Director at OVAL. The full meaning of OVAL is Onosake Ware Agro Ventures Limited. He's an agribusiness consultant and team lead of UTALIA, where we found ourselves this evening. He is also a first-class graduate of food science and technology from Bowen University. Wonderful. He has developed extensive experience across livestock agro inputs, feed manufacturing, poultry and aquaculture production, and value-added processing of animal protein. His work spans the design and optimization of agribusiness system from farm operations to processing and market delivery. Through a combination of strategic leadership and hands-on operational execution, Sir Elvis has led initiatives that improve farmers' productivity, expand access to high-quality inputs, and strengthen the efficiency and resilience of food supply chain. His expertise lies in building scalable agribusiness models, driving innovation, and unlocking sustainable revenue growth across the agricultural ecosystem. Passionate about the future of food security in Africa, Sir Elvis focused on empowering farmers, enabling youth participation, and advancing technology-driven solutions that support sustainable food production and long-term industry transformation. We can go on and on, but ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of time, let's just take this few. And we welcome to the platform. We are not reacting, my God. Our convener, no other person than Sir Elvis. Let's keep the reaction coming. Even when we've heard his voice, the
All
reaction
right.
should continue.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you to everybody thank you to everybody present. So we're just going to go straight right in. All right. I don't have much to talk about. We are rounding off now. All right. Uh, I have a slide, but I'll send it to the platform so we can benefit from it there. But I just want to go straight into the key things that I have to talk about because both speakers have delivered, wonderfully, and dealt with their various aspects, wonderfully well. So we have touched on the various agribusiness opportunities available, practically in livestock across other value chains. I just want to give us, practical insights on starting. All right. And this cuts across board. All right. So if you want to start a livestock business or you want to start, a crop farm, or you want to start, for example, let me just list the opportunities I have here. You have production, you have processing. By production, I'm talking about livestock farming, crop farming, agriculture. You have processing, where you also talk about feed milling. You talk about processing food products. You have logistics, aiding easy supply of food products, maybe refrigerated trucking and the likes. You have input supply. You have market access. You have agri-tech. You have policy, and you have extension. This is also part of extension where you deliver knowledge via the media. All right. So I want to just give us practical insights or key steps on starting. All right. How you can start your agribusiness. Let me see if I can just share my slide so that we follow me. Let me see if okay, beautiful. Daniel, please mute. Okay. Okay, good. I believe we can see my slide. Yeah? All right. All right. Okay. Okay, good. So practical insights or practical steps on starting. Now the first and easiest way to start, all right, the first step is just to start, all right? Start. And let me give an example. Let's say you want to start the example, you want to start by producing, you want to start producing feed, all right, you want to be feed miller. The very best thing to do is to start selling feed. When Blessing was speaking and he mentioned something like, say, you want to farm, you want to be I think the catfish farmer, start selling fish, something like that. And I was like, this man is really my style. If you want to produce feed, start selling feed. What this does for you is that it gives you an insight of the market. It helps you understand the kind of feeds that sell better. It helps you understand You know, you know when a product delivers, you know when a product is not delivering well. You understand the market. You know, why this is very important is because as a businessman or, you know, as a farmer, you know, as an agripreneur, your job is to feed the market, not to feed your feelings. So you have to be more concerned about what the market wants. You have to focus on their need. So if you want to start producing feed, sell the feeds that are available in the market first. Understand, you know, the basic things around how the feed works. You know, a farmer tests it, get the feedback from the farmer. Which one do they prefer? And then you to do your own experiment too. All right, this gives you critical market intel. This makes you understand what the market needs, and that is the very, very, very and most important step to starting any single venture, particularly when you talk about an agribusiness or thereabouts. Another key thing that I want us to know is to start from the grassroots. You know, start small. So okay, now you've made up your mind. You want to start, planting pepper. You want to start. You want to start mailing feed. You want to start exporting. You want to start. Start small. Before you export, what happens to just doing cross-border commodity trading? Before you export the feed, you can start trading them between different states in Nigeria. All right, and you'll be surprised the amount of money you make from that. For example, personally, I use over 100 tons of maize per month. Over 100 tons of maize. So imagine you getting in touch with like every month you're certified. I mean, you're certain of selling 100 tons of maize. Calculate that by 12 months, and you know how much a ton of maize is. So look for the market within. All right, look for the market within and start there, and then you begin to grow. This helps you understand the market again. And this helps you because now, why I'm really touching on this is because most times people think about the strategy, but I think about mapping it out. See, agriculture is not about the aesthetics now. It's about functionality. It's about how well you can deliver. That's what people are concerned about. For example, if you want to do business with somebody, I don't care if your company has the finest this or that. I mean, is if you can deliver the products I'm asking you to deliver. Good quality and all of that. All right. So those are the key things that you have to take note of. Notice patterns and observe feedback carefully. Very important when you start. So again, when you start small, it helps you to also grow and it helps you to learn in the process. When you start small, it helps you to grow and it helps you to learn in the process, and that's very important. Another thing I want you to understand when you're starting an agribusiness venture is to understand the power of relationships. The previous speaker, Mr. Adesola, spoke about this. Understand the power of relationships. This is very important. This is, and I'm going to give a story. All right, there's something happening now in my business. It's not so good, but I'm just going to give the story to understand how good relationships are. Most of the massive customers I have or big customers I have, they all started. Most of the big customers I have. I mean, they started buying the level at which they're buying now just through conversations. For example, one of my major customers, this man used to buy just barely around 200, 300, 500,000 naira worth of product from us in a month. But now he purchases over 20 million naira worth of products in a month from us. In 1 month. And how did this happen? Just by building a relationship with the person. Just, having conversations. So, okay, I can give you this. Because you don't know, for example, he's a fish farmer, he buys fish from me. So I know that, okay, this person is a fish farmer. I know that he uses fish, but I mean, I was like, okay, let him just build a relationship with him. Understand, why he doesn't even buy from me. So just by passively talking around, I got to know why he was not buying from me. And then I was able to, of course, I already knew the problem. So I preferred the solution. And he bought into it. And we have a wonderful relationship now. In fact, I'm experiencing something little where, I mean, there's a problem with one of my trucks and all of that. And I can't receive my feet as early as I would normally receive them. But this man is literally waiting for me to get my feet. He's not going to place to buy. In fact, he told me, okay, I had to work my way around to get him fit. Now, I just, touched around that story to make us understand the power of relationship. When you build proper relationship with your customers or with your suppliers or with, fellow colleagues, oh my God, you're definitely searching of success. So again, action over planning, all right? Go straight into the action. Don't over strategize, all of that. Then now, let me just talk quickly on how to. Okay, you've started now, you're doing well, or you already. I mean, there are people here who are already farming. How can you scale? How can you grow? First of all, I will advise you to grow before you start scaling. All right. But let's say you want to scale. What do you do? I normally advise and I normally practice to scale or grow from within. For example, I'm a fish farmer. I mean, that's who I am. I mean, I have a fish farm and I grow around 500,000 catfish annually. Now I want to scale. What is the easiest thing for me? I'm starting, selling dried catfish, and this will go into the market soon. So think from within. Don't always look at. Of course, I have, for example, I'm also partnering with some foreign companies to bring in some products and some solutions. But beyond that, I'm more concerned about how I can scale from within. All right, I'm more concerned about how I can scale from within. So think about that. All right, think about how you can scale from within. Look at the low hanging fruit when you want to scale your business. Look at the low hanging fruit. All right, don't be so focused on, oh, you want to build before you build a massive a massive feed mill. What can you do first, and how can you grow the one you're already doing? So rounding up now, some of the key things I want you to take note of here is agriculture offers multiple entry points, all right? Even without massive capital. You can start small. You can be a middleman. There are many ways you can start agriculture. You don't have to break the bank. All right. If you want to go into fish farming, of course, you can start by just connecting buyers and sellers together. There are many ways you can go into agriculture. You can start small, all right, and start simple, start smart, and you learn as you go. Don't be focused on mapping out the strategy and all those things. Strategy will come as you go. All right. So final things I want you to take note of. First is pick the easiest first step that puts you close to the market, because it's very important that you understand the market. Whatever agribusiness venture you're looking at, you need to understand your market. You need to serve the market, not your feelings. All right. And why I'm stressing on this is because I interact with a lot of founders, and I've realized that most times founders, they develop products for their emotions. Oh, I like, and even me, I've been there. All right. Oh, I like this product. I think it will work well. And you just go ahead and do it. No, understand your market. No, your market, not you will fail. For example, again, if you're a fish farmer and you want to start fish farming, because there are different ways. For example, if you're doing catfish, they're different. You can either sell when they're 1 kg or 0.5 kg, thereabout. You need to understand what the market in that area consumes before you will not say, okay, you want to start selling this type of this or that type. Secondly, be observant and detail oriented in every interaction. All right. Look at the details. This is one key principle for success. Don't just, what differentiates you from other people is how, focus on details you are. And thirdly, use that experience that you have gained to scale sustainably, gradually over time. And I'm sure you're definitely going to succeed in your agribusiness venture. So thank you so much for coming for UTALIA 2.0. And thank you so much. Now we're just going to take a few questions, all right, so we can round off for today. We're going to take a few questions. So if you have a question, just put it. Okay, there's something I wanted to say, all right? So I'm doing something really special. I am opening up. I want to begin. This is something I've never had, but I guess I have to start it now. I'm opening up slots, about 5 slots for people that I want to mentor and train and take them from where, for example, if you do 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million a month, I want to take you from that to at least triple what you're doing by the end of the year. It's very possible. It's mainly dependent on you, how well you are open to that and how well your mind sees that. But if you are, open to something like that, you believe that, oh yes, there's more you can do. All right, hit me up. Hit the rest of the team up. There's James here, there's Daniel here. You can hit them, or you can, reach out to either of us on the group chat. All right. I'm opening up mentorship slots for just 5 people, and it's for free. I'm not taking anything, but I need commitment. I need to see that you are ready. I want to literally triple your revenue. All right. And I believe, I know it can happen. I've done it before several. So if you're interested in that, and if you are serious, in fact, we'll select people too. So, I mean, just putting out there. So now let's get the questions, and we'll call it a night. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So questions, if you have any, we'll take just like 2 questions. So we can call it a night. All right, Chidi, go on.
Hello, good evening, sir.
All right, good evening.
Yeah, thank you very much for this wonderful session. Once again, very, very impactful, and I'm already inspired already. Thank you very much. So, my question is, so myself, I'm not actually an established agripreneur or agribusiness person yet, but I really do have the intention because I'm into real estate. Like I'm a realtor, real estate consultant, and I sell real estate, and I've been so invested in agro real estate. So I recently was able to acquire a few acres of land, and when Mr. Mene was speaking, when he asked us to talk about what we're doing or what we'd like to do, I talked about going into cash crop plantation. And for someone that is completely a newbie, right? I've gotten to know that you said, okay, there are the ways that you can just start and move out. For me, I want to go into cash crop plantation now, majorly cashew and cocoa. How best do you think I can start off in this field? That's my question, sir.
All right. um, first off, as I said, start the easiest way you can. For example, you want to start selling, you want to start planting cash crops. Why don't you start selling it? All right. Look for you could go to a farm, a mega farm that does this. You could go to a mega farm that does this, that plants whatever you want to sell, all right? Or that plants
Yes,
whatever
sir.
you want to plant.
Yes.
And you could actually tell them, hey, I want to intern with you. I want to sell for you. I want to sell for you.
Mm.
Don't pay me anything. Just, give me social commission if I'm able to sell this amount of products for you. What that would do for you, that would help you understand the market. And also, beyond that, I would also advise, because you are not into agriculture or you're not an expert in it, you have to also learn how to plant. You have to learn the principles of crop farming. So that's why first of all mentioned intent before even selling for the person. So you have
Okay.
to actually look for a place you can learn. All right, it's very important. Mr. Adesola mentioned something like when I was talking. Learn from those people. You can learn from the local farmers. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
look for a place that you can actually learn this thing first, and then when you learn it, what you do is you also master sales, because beyond production, you also have to sell. That's where the money comes in. If you produce and you don't sell, all right, you would waste your product. So very important. First of all, learn to sell.
Sir.
So
Yes, sir.
learn the principles, learn the business. Look for any farm. Tell them, hey, I want to practice. I'm going to this. Don't pay me. All right. I just want to learn it. The issue with many young people now is we're more focused on money than the knowledge. But knowledge is
Yes, sir.
actually the main capital. Knowledge is the main resource. So
Yes.
my advice for you is go and learn it first. All right.
All
Just
right,
go
sir.
there, learn it,
Thank you very much.
and then also learn and also master the sales aspect of it. God
Sales.
bless you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Adesola, do you want to say anything regarding that?
Um, um, Good evening once again. I think, yeah, especially the cashew, you need to learn the type of cashew that are good for exports, because I think you want to do exports. As far as I know, the best two cashews in Nigeria are the one from Kogi and Ogbomoso. So you need to
Yes,
learn
sir.
the KOR, how to measure the KOR,
Yes, sir.
and then you also need to learn the soil. There are some soil that you cannot plant good cashews. So
Yeah.
you need to be careful about that, and you need to watch out for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Interestingly, sir, where I acquired those acres of land is actually in Oyo State, very, very close to
Oh
Ogbomoso.
wow.
So
Yes.
there's difference between Oyo and Ogbomoso. The funny thing is that the cashew in Oyo town has a cheaper KOR to the cashew in Ogbomoso. So you have a good
Yes, sir.
value when you plant in Ogbomoso, Kogi, than every other part of Nigeria.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You all right? Thank you. I think next person is Joshua. Joshua, please, can you go on and ask your question?
Okay, good evening, sir. Thank you very
Good
much.
evening.
Though I didn't reach the class, this is starting from the beginning, but I've still learned a lot. Okay, my question is, I'm a student and I'm agri engineering student, so I wanted to start a fish farming, fish poultry farming. So, but I don't really have enough capital to start it. So, at this instant, what can you like? How can I start this? Or is there any possible way or any way I can start it from, even though it's not that big or massive as it is?
All right. Thank you so much. Again, there are so many ways to start. I mean, the same principle applies. All right. Learn first. Learn it. Look for a farm and tell them you want to learn. All right. So you can tell them you want to work. Many farms are looking for workers, so they will pay you and teach you. But beyond that, look for a farm and actually go there to learn. It's very important to understand. Because this is farming. It's practical, and you're farming life. All right. It's different from when you're doing. You're farming life here. So any little mistake. I mean, I could go on and say stories of there was a time just very minor mistake. We lost, at that time was around 5 million, but this was in 2020. If you convert it now, you're looking at almost 20 million that was lost in one day. Just little mistakes. So you have to be very careful when it comes to, farming livestock. So my main advice, first thing is learn. All right. Secondly, there are many ways you can easily enter if you want to go into the farming itself. Just connect the buyers and sellers together. All right. You can, I mean, easy things you could do actually if you have built trust with a farm, because farmers are looking to sell their fish. You can go there. It's risky, but you can go there. You have take some of them. Maybe if they have, let's say they have 1,000 pieces, you can maybe have take like 500 or thereabouts. And but you only do that when you already have a sure market. You already have somebody that wants to buy it. You go there, you buy it from them on credit, and then you sell to that person, collect money and pay. You can't do that. All right, those are his ways, but that is built on relationship, purely on relationship. You need them to trust you. All right, but that's another way you can enter. Another, low cost way you could enter is also via the hatchery part of it, but that you also have to learn it. All right, where you hatch the catfish, get the fingerlings or the fries rather, then you raise them to fingerlings or to juveniles, and then you sell them. So that's also an easy way that you produce to an easy entry point. Another one is actually buying the fish right when they're grown and drying them and buy them, you dry them and you sell them. All right. So that's another easy way that you produce to enter. And that one doesn't involve, so I mean you have to just learn the how to dry the catfish and all of that. Yeah, this stuff, if you actually follow the steps, you will actually start something. All right, if you them start something. So look at that, look at that. But most important, learn it. Don't just start what you have not learned. Don't go into a business you don't understand. All right, thank you. Any other question? Okay, Florence Peter said about the development. Is it mainly for people who have it's mainly for people who have running business. At least I want you to have started something before. I say let's, scale what you have. Mainly for people who have been running business. But I mean, if you don't have anything now, you could also join the UTALIA platform. There you would also train and also have regular meetings, monthly meetings, where would also help people, that are interested in starting something in agriculture. Yeah. So any other question before we call it a night? Any other question? Any other question before we call it a night? All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay. So I think we are good to go. I think we're good to go. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We have actually overextended. I mean, overextended the time that we set for this. But thank you for staying till this time. Thank you for staying till this time. Thank you for staying till this time. So again, as I said, we'll have webinars like this every quarter. So the next webinar we're going to have like this is going to be in April, in June. All right. So having webinars like this every quarter. But also we're going to be having monthly trainings on the UTALIA platform. It's going to be webinars as well. And we're going to be bringing, amazing people. We're going to bring in amazing people. We're going to bring in exporters. We're going to be bringing policymakers. We're going to be bringing, even field dealers. I mean, different people every month. All right. It may be every month or it may be twice in a month. We're still deciding yet. But of course, we're going to be having regular webinars before we have, big webinars like this. And then hopefully also do a conference. All right, but please make sure you join the UTALIA platform. Make sure you join the UTALIA platform. Make sure you join the UTALIA platform so that you can stay in touch and get all the details. I don't miss out on anything. So yeah, thank you so much. God bless you all, and I pray that as you step out, you are stepping into success. God directs you, leads you. All right. Have a great time, and see you at the next UTALIA. Bye. Bless you.